Man, we giving y'all a hot topic today, like always. It's gonna be about, is there really a such thing as gay marriage? Basically. And I'ma just let Bezalel kick it with y'all for a second, and y'all just listen.
Okay, we know that President Barack Obama has came on television and expressed his emphatic support of gay marriage and of NBA Boston Celtics player Jason Collins coming out the closet. You know what I'm saying? And my whole point is that that's part of what has recently made being gay acceptable. That we know in the past that, you know, in 1973, homosexuality was listed as a mental illness in the American Psychiatric Association, and in 1975 in the American Psychological Association, and up until 1990 in the World Health Organization, homosexuality was listed as a mental illness. Now, recently in the past 20 years, there has become a phenomenon known as that people are born gay. This widely accepted belief that people are born gay is what makes it a civil rights issue. Traditionally in this country, when you look at the civil rights issue, it's attached to the descendants of the black slaves of the transatlantic slave trade. It's attached to women and other racial minorities. And the thing that makes it a civil rights issue is that when you look at black people, we don't have an option or a choice in being born black. And women don't have an option or a choice in being born female. You know what I'm saying? So my whole thing is there such thing as gay marriage? And how can you legalize something that doesn't exist? This is something the American public has failed to look into or realize because of the constant bombardment, you know what I'm saying, of propaganda that's fed to them through the media. You know what I'm saying? My proposal is to you, are you believing things that haven't been proven to you? And the answer to that is yes, and I'll prove it, you know what I'm saying, later on in this filming. And my whole thing is that, you know what I'm saying, people have bought into the concept that our people are born gay, and that people that are gay have a civil rights stake in being legally entitled to marriage. So when you look at the civil rights issue, we know that blacks were discriminated. We know that women are discriminated against. We know that today, women still only make like 78 cents to a man's dollar in corporate jobs. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason that women gave up on their civil rights movement is that they was going to be forced to fight in the military. And they chose otherwise because they had some wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So, but when you look at the fact that, you know what I'm saying, that these people were traditionally discriminated against, can you say that gay people have been discriminated against? Can you say that gay people have not been allowed to drink out of certain drinking fountains? Can you say that gay people have not been allowed to attend certain schools or receive access to state resources and funds for their schools? Can you say that gay people have not been allowed to receive equal pay for certain jobs? Well, that's the only type of things that would couple them into the same thing as being a discriminatory minority group, to where that they would make such a claim that they have an equal share or an equal title to such thing as marriage. Now, when you look at the word equality, it means the same or identical. The same or identical. So we're going to get into this as far as this thing as, is there such thing as gay marriage? And excuse me, the thing that I said that makes this a civil rights issue is that they are entitled to it through discriminatory past things, you know what I'm saying, and things that are identical or the same as things that black slave descendants went through, things that women in this country went through, and other minority groups, you know what I'm saying, and legally they have not faced that type of discrimination. So what I'm telling you is that they have manufactured a crisis of gay people being scrutinized and gay people being attacked and gay people being discriminated against that doesn't exist. Now, in the 80s, if you was walking down the street holding hands, you might get beat up. But that was the worst. There was no legal ramifications or repercussions, you know what I'm saying, being imposed upon you to keep you from things. That's what oppression is. You know what I'm saying? So, the title are people born gay. Now, black people, when a baby is born, a doctor can look at a baby and determine that it's of so-called African or Africoid, Hamitic, black, whatever descent. You know what I'm saying? If a European female gives birth to a baby and it has a dark skin complexion, the physician can optically determine from his observation of viewing the baby that the father is not a European male. The European male does not have to be present in the delivery room for the physician to determine this. You know what I'm saying? When a physician gives someone an ultrasound, he can look on the screen in the ultrasound to determine the sex of the baby, whether the infant will be a male or a female. But I ask you, when a physician gives an ultrasound, can they determine from the ultrasound whether the baby will be gay or straight? Can a physician look at a baby when it's born and hold it in his arms and determine whether it'll be gay or straight? And the obvious answer to that will be no. So how can you make the claim that someone is born this way and that they're entitled right, you know what I'm saying, to something that they're clearly not the same as? Like, if I have 2 spoons, is that the same as me holding up a spoon and a fork? You know what I'm saying? We know that a spoon and a fork have opposite purposes in eating a meal. But we know that 2 spoons have identical purposes in eating a meal. So can I make the same argument for 2 spoons that I can make for a spoon and a fork? I mean, that's not logical. It's you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. And so the point is, you know what I'm saying, what is marriage? You know, if I'm gonna make the argument that there's no such thing as gay marriage, then what is marriage? When you look up the definition of marriage, it'll tell you that it is a social institution between a male and a female who decide to establish their decision to live as husband and wife through legal activities or religious ceremonies. You know what I'm saying? Now I ask you this. Can 2 men decide to live as husband and wife? Can 2 women decide to live as husband and wife? And furthermore, at its core, if you remember the definition of social institution between members of the opposite sex, to say that same-sex marriage is essentially the same as saying a same-sex, opposite-sex social institution where the 2 parties decide to live as husband and wife. So that's an oxymoron. Same sex, opposite sex. That's like saying hot, cold, slow, fast, a left, right. You know what I'm saying? An oxymoron. When you look up the definition or the etymology or the origin of the word oxymoron, it was originated in 1657 from a Greek word that's called oxymoros. And oxy means pointedly foolish. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me, pointedly or keen, and moros means foolish. So an oxymoron means pointedly foolish, like point blank is foolish. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? So if you say, well, definitions are changed all the time. Okay, well, what's going too far? Can I describe an orange without leaving out the fact that it's a citrus fruit? Can I rightfully describe what an orange is and leave out the fact that it's a citrus fruit? Can I do that? So how can I define marriage and leave out the fact that it's 2 members of the opposite sex who decide to establish their decision to live as husband and wife? So can these 2 men live as husband and wife? Can 2 women live as husband and wife? There's no such thing. And I'm not saying that gay people shouldn't be left alone and whatever, because to me personally, their decision and their sexual choice is up to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? That's who's gonna decide their moral, you know what I'm saying, obligation. Because as humans, we're flawed. We could just bring reason and logic and facts. You know what I'm saying? If somebody don't respect our religious or spiritual beliefs on morality, then we have to come to a point of reasoning. And the definition of reasoning is 2 parties coming to a conclusion based on logic and facts. So that's what I'm giving you here. You know what I'm saying? Another thing that makes this a civil rights issue is the fact that people claim that somebody's sexual orientation it's something that they can't help.